Hello, everybody. This is Paul Pana. We are now live. Today, we're going to be talking about how to create consistent characters, not just with AI generated, where you generate it with a prompt, like meaning you typed a prompt, you generate a consistent character, but we're also going to be talking about how to upload your own photos, whether it's cartoon characters, your own photos, that sort of thing, and create consistent characters from uploaded photos. It's a brand new update we made to Artistly, which is mind blowing because it opens up a whole bunch of creative options for you. So let's just jump in right away. Let me show you where this update is located, okay? So when you jump into Artistly, right, the application, you see this Artistly 4.0, you're gonna see this option called Fast AI Generator, and then the second one called Advanced AI Designer, right? So all you gotta do is just select this option, okay? You're gonna select this option, and then when you select this option, you're gonna jump into the Advanced AI editor, right? So you just create a new project, just like how you would create. Now, it is located exactly here, okay? You see that option right there? That is where it is located, this feature. So when you hover your mouse, it's gonna be under this custom consistent character. You see that? It says custom consistent character. So let's walk you through. What does this feature do? So let's say, for example, this is the photo that I'm doing, right? So like, do you see this photo right here? So like, let me show you this photo right now. See, this is the photo, right? So I uploaded this cartoon character, 2D cartoon character, right? And using this feature, I can basically write anything. So for example, I can go into this custom consistent character. It says kindly select an image in the canvas. So I selected this image, right? Now, basically, if you see here, it's going to have this option. It has a user ID, so it basically knows what image this is. And then the second thing that it will do is it's going to show us this little prompt section, right? Where it says generate consistent character. So all you have to do here, and we'll go in depth on it, Yash is going to do that as well. What you're going to do here, pay attention, is you're going to say a prompt. This cartoon voice running in the rainforest in 2D style, right? So basically I want this character, same person, to be recreated, right? My uploaded image, I uploaded this from my computer. I didn't generate it with AI. You could, but I also uploaded it. And then basically I want him to be running in the rainforest, right? And then you just click on this button right here, which says generate custom character, and watch what happens, okay? Watch what happens, okay? And you just go into this, and then you see this. It generated this image. You see this? So original image. So let's just actually, hopefully if I can zoom out a little bit to show you, I guess. Yeah. So you see this, right? This becomes this, keeping the original consistency. You see the nose style, you see the hair color, you see the eye color, right? All these variables are intact. You can obviously change the color of the clothing and stuff depending on the prompting, but this allows you to create consistent character stories. If you want to create books, you want to create, let's say, for example, social media posts with the same mascot throughout, this allows you to do that. And this is extremely powerful because it's off of one photo, okay? So normally what happens, right, if you go into other platforms out there, you need to generate like 15 photos, you got to upload all 15 of them at different angles and all that. Then you have to train that thing for like an hour or something, wait, hope and pray it came out good. Then after that, you have to basically create some prompts to make it generate. Here from one photo, instantly, meaning you just uploaded the photo, you give it a bunch of prompts, and you can direct the actions. Super, super powerful, right? So now I have Yash here. I'll share it, have him share his screen. He's gonna walk you through this feature because it's just incredibly powerful. Then we'll do some Q&A as well. We'll be answering all your questions along the way, and also some secret features we've recently added into Artistly as well. And yes, I see your questions. Video Express version 2.0 is being worked on. I'll give an update on it in our next training because we're doing some final touches. And of course, as I mentioned in our Facebook group and stuff like that, it'll be a mind-blowing update. We're working from scratch. We're going to be releasing it to beta testers first, who've commented in our Facebook group and our community. But again, the integration will be awesome, okay? The Artistly integration and Video Express, all the Artistly folders, all the images you guys and gals are generating will also appear in Video Express. That's what we're working hard on. So that way, you know, you have Artistly, the greatest AI image designer, Video Express, the greatest image to video, text to video designer as well for videos, okay? So that'll be the focus. Yash, I gave it over to you. Go ahead. You can share your screen and go from there.
Awesome, perfect. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's been a while since we last, in from the training. So, yep, perfect. So, as Paul mentioned, we'll be talking about this. I'll be sharing with you some strategies on how to actually get the perfect consistency in your images. I hope my screen is visible. Just let me see. All right. I hope my screen is visible to you, Paul. My screen is visible, right? Everyone? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So here's how it works, right? So as you see that this is a character that you want, you have to first get your character from the media library. And guys, one more thing I want to say, that not just this, I've been listening, we've been listening to all your feedbacks and all your requests, and we've been, you know, one by one, step by step, adding all those things inside the application to make the workflow and smoother, to make the image generation better, and to make your productivity go crazy, right? Anyways, so
And
here's how you're
Yash,
gonna
while
do
you're
that.
at it, one of the questions comes in was his cap disappeared. That's the
Let me
whole point. You can either remove the hat or even add it into the prompts. He'll show you where you
yeah,
can add that hat in. You want to change that hat into a red color hat, blue color hat, or orange color,
yeah,
it's fine. The point is that in many cases, when you're creating stories, you don't want a hat in some of the cases, right? In some cases, you want it. That is the flexibility here. Because you see, in this image, the hair is incomplete, right? So that means, in other words, the hat was covering up half of the head, but the consistent character will figure it out and fill in the details. That's the magic. That's actually a good thing, not a bad thing, just so you understand, right? I know some people are like, okay, I see it. The hat is not there. That's a good thing because in many cases, when you're uploading characters, we want to have the flexibility of adding a hat, adding, let's say, maybe even one of those Mexican sombreros, right? Like one of those big hats. You want to basically maybe even change his hair color or whatever. The point is you get that flexibility, okay? That's why we went through the detail here of allowing you to customize it through the prompt level itself, okay? Does that make sense? So that's the goal here. So when we show these features, right, I want to explain this key aspect as you folks go along with it, and we're going to jump into some details here. So what you have to understand is that when we are creating these features, we've thought through a lot of the details, intricate details, because we use this stuff in our own advertising. We use this stuff every day in our own business and stuff. So what we've realized is that flexibility will only occur if you understand the true power of it, right? That's why we do these training videos too on these live streams to answer questions like this. If I just told you to watch a training video, I wouldn't even know these comments are coming in, right? So yeah, so you definitely can add that hat back in, or you can change the color of the hat or any props you want to add. You can change the shoe color, clothing color, you can do whatever you want. It's all through the prompting. We'll get through that today as well. Okay, go ahead, Yasha.
absolutely. And another thing that I wanted to mention right here, as you can see, this has generated the image with the without the hat, as you can see, which I wanted him. One second. I wanted this character to be sitting on the bench, as you can see. So it perfectly generated that with the same clothing and all the same approach, right? Which is pretty cool. Now, one thing that I wanted to make sure that you follow this thing, where in the initial sentence, the first few words, first 2 to 3 words, has to mention what you want, right? This is the cartoon boy. So we we have a Facebook group, right? So a lot of people are posting like, okay, I want this character, or okay, I want this output with my character, right? So a lot of people make this mistake by, okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that. So the mistake they make is this character, right? So AI does not know which character it is, right? So you have to mention, okay, this is the cartoon boy, this is the cartoon girl, this is the cartoon boy with, red hat, right? Sitting on a bench or cooking in the kitchen, right? 2D style, right? Cooking in the kitchen. And the end, you just have to make sure, because we have a lot of use cases where you don't have the flat images like these 2D style, but you sometimes have 3D style, right? Then what are you going to do? So you can say 3D style for AI to understand that, okay, so there's an interesting thing, right? I just ran this thing, and you have to also make sure that sometimes when you don't get the result that you want, what happens is I just chose the image that is in your canvas, as you can see, that is being selected to use it as a reference image for you to generate consistent images. So always make sure the image that it shows you on the top that is selected, it is going to use that as a reference image for you to generate consistent character from that, like this for example, right? Like this. So you can generate as like kitchen in cooking in the kitchen, right? Or the one that we have shown. So let me just bring up our character again, and let's just do something interesting. All right, so what you do once again, upload the character, go to the custom consistent character, and then prompt it again, right, with me. This cartoon boy running in rainforest, or maybe sitting in the garden running in rainforest, 2D style, for example, right? And generate the custom consistent character, right? What it's gonna do, it's gonna take this character and will learn it about the facial things and or any character you have, and will try to replicate from top to bottom, and then will give you with your environment or your pose or the environment that you wanted. For example, this one, right? And again, right, 90% of the time, look at this, right? This cartoon boy running in the forest with the cap, facial features, same, right? 90% of the time, it gives you the thing you want. If maybe max once or twice, you get the results you want, like, right? In just first try, I got the result. By the way, if you guys, I can't see all your comments. So once I stop sharing my screen, I'll come back to your questions, any questions you have. All right. Anyways, so this cartoon boy running in rainforest. Okay, I'm gonna do this cartoon boy sitting in the garden. Okay, sitting in the garden, holding, sitting in the garden, holding a blue Easter egg, right? And there's something very interesting that I wanna tell you, that specifically, right? A lot of times, and this is a cool hack. Okay, a lot of times, okay, this one mistake I did it again, right? Is it's not a mistake in a way if you think about it, right? So this image that is in the canvas, it's gonna take this character, which again, it's not a big deal, but it's gonna take this character to generate the new image. You always have to make sure that if you like it, you save it, or everything is going inside your media library, as you can see, under AI generated folders, so you can get from there. But just make sure that like, as you can see, all your AI generated stuff are there, so just so that you don't miss any of them. So always remember, once you like it, you export it, or you can keep generating them and you can export it once. Now, interesting thing I want to show you again. Okay, go to the media library. I'm gonna go to my uploaded tabs, and I'm gonna upload my character again. I'm gonna come to consistent character, this cartoon boy sitting in the garden holding blue Easter egg, 2D style. Now let's talk about the hack. The hack is, there's this one of our amazing member from the meta group, if Facebook group, we say, if you are not in there, please do, because there are a lot of ideas that are being shared. This is something which is okay, but I want something else, right? So you can always select this and generate the consistent character again. Anyways, so there was this lady, she basically wanted that, okay, I generated a custom consistent character and I like it, but I want like a green beanie on top of it, right? For example. So then instead of that, what I recommended her, that okay, you got the character good, you can always in paint, right? If specific features like the hat, or you wanted like a dog in front of side by him, so that's just something really interesting, right? So that's one thing that, so far so good. Just confirm with me, so far so good. Any questions? uh Awesome, perfect, awesome. There, all right, all right. So perfect. Yes. So you can do it with single characters, right? You can do it with animals. You can do it with 3D characters. You can do it with anything you want. Real photos. Let's talk about real photos. All right. Perfect. So what? So far so good. And this, there's something really really crazy stuff that we have implemented inside Artistly. Number one, okay, number one, you guys have mentioned that, okay, Yash, we want the functionality to view the prompts of the AI generated images, there you go. All right, there you go. Now you can come to the media library. Okay, before I come back to the real photos, because that is inside the fast AI image designer. But as you can see, when you click on this eye option, this little eye option, when you hover your mouse, you will see the prompt. You can copy the prompt to your clipboard very easily, so you can regenerate it again. That's one feature, guys. There's another hidden something very interesting feature that we have launched, which is AI style replicator. And I'll tell you, this one was from your request and was from my personal, how do you say that, issue, right? So a lot of the times what happens is you wanted some image in your style, but it never come out in your style, right? Like, I mean, you used mirror magic, you used the prompt that you thought that would work. So what we have actually done is, let me see if I can quickly find it. Okay, so let me just copy the prompt of this. Okay, one second. And what I'm gonna do, there's this base image. I'm gonna export it this one. So I'm gonna show you. This is very, very, very interesting, right? Perfect. I got this, and I'm gonna get this base image, right? So this is the base image that I got with this AI. It is good. It's not something what I want, right? I want some more watercolory style and all that cool stuff. So you can go to AI stylizer. It's a third option here. You can paste the prompt that you have used it to generate an image, or if you are actually using your image, right? So you can just describe that image in one single sentence, like a boy sitting in the forest or boy standing in the forest and stuff like that, right? Now here is the magic. Okay, here's the magic. What you can do is you can upload the style image. Okay, this is so cool, right? Look at this. One second. Oops, I clicked on it. AI stylizer. So it always works. You have to make sure that you choose the image. So I'm just gonna drop my image that like I want it. So you see that my new image is more watercolory. So you always put the reference image like you want it to, and click on generate styled image. What it's gonna do, guys, is so amazing, right? Because sometimes mirror magic does not replicate the exact style, feel, and the how do you say that, right? The sketching or the illustration is not exactly what you want. This thing fixes it for permanently, right? Because whatever the reference image you give it, it doesn't matter. I just gave it a same reference image, but you can give it any reference image like you want, whether it is like gray style or oil pastel style or watercolor style or this style or that style. Is going to make sure that it perfectly replicates. Look at that. This I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to show you a lot of difference, right? Look at this image. This was our reference image, so we can just dump it. Okay, anyways, let me just show you. All right, this is our image. This is our original image. I'm gonna increase the canvas just so that you understand the power of this, right? Okay, so I'm gonna do 120, 720. So this is a quick hack where you can go to the setting and you can increase your canvas. I'm gonna delete our character for now, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you these images one by one. So let me know if you have any questions, guys. So one second. Yep, as you can see here, right? This one, let me just decrease. Yep. All right. As you can see, right? Like the one that you see on your image on the left is the AI generated one, and the one that you see on the right are the stylized one. You see that depth, right? It's more hand drawn. It feels like more the style. And this was generally, I think, she wanted to use it for the design on the t-shirt. But yeah, you're gonna use it on the designs on the t-shirt. So that's something really, really interesting. Let me know if that makes sense. So go through changing. All right, perfect. Awesome. Thanks. All All right, can I bring character? All right,
Yeah,
perfect,
so the
awesome.
next
Any questions?
question, Yash, was about
Yeah,
using realistic images, right? Not just cartoon. You're going to cover
yeah,
that shortly, right? Obviously. But I just
100%.
want to answer one question that came in quite a bit that I see is basically about having multiple characters. So good question, guys. I see it. So for multiple characters, we recommend our next update we're going to be working on. So we're working on that on the realistic side as well, where what happens if you have three people in a scene and you want to have consistency throughout with the three. It's being worked on. So we are doing some internal testing on that stuff. It's not that easy to do that, but we're going to be working on that. You'll watch that. So one of the trainings in the future, you'll see it because the team is working on it. And then the other stuff as well, we're going to be talking about the updates we're making as well to Artistly, some secret features we are working on. The vision is really obviously to make Artistly the number one best AI design tool. Okay, because the question was also, can I turn this into video? Of course, Video Express, right? Because Video Express will be the number one text to video as well as image to video platform, especially with version 2.0 coming up soon. So that'll be the goal,
Awesome.
right? So then the Artistly folders, right? So in the images that you're creating within Artistry will be available in Video Express. That's the integration we are working on. We're doing some final touches on that because we have to figure out different dimensions, aspect ratios, and all that, right? It's not that straightforward, but once we have that, that's the goal as well. So that means Artistry will be the images. Video Express will be the videos for anything, text to video, image to video, and all that kind of good stuff. All right.
Exactly.
Now, the other question that I wanted to also answer as we're going along, right, is this idea of what's the benefit of creating these consistent characters? What's the deal here? What are some things that you can do? So we're going to be talking about that as well. So yes, you can go over that as well right
Perfect.
now.
All right, awesome, perfect. So I'm gonna share my screen again. So all right. So when you go to the create design tab, right? You have to go to fast AI image designer, and then when you come here, you have to click on train your own AI images. So basically, it's an instant training. You don't have to upload a bunch of your photos or have to wait for hours, right? Instantly, you can generate consistent realistic images, right? You can upload your picture here, or you can select from the design that you have already created, right? So I have already created some of them. I want to show you. So let's say I want to use this, right? This character, right? So I'm going to use her, right? Like this. Now you have to specify which gender it is. So it's female. You have to specify the dimension 16 by 9, horizontal, portrait, square. And you have to set the similarity high, low, right? The facial, the hair similarity. So I'm going to go with high. Now what you have to do, you have to say like okay, this lady I want is a business woman wearing pink tuxedo, right? Pink tuxedo in the hall room. Simple prompt, right? Generate the design. Now what it's gonna do, it's gonna take that style, right? It's gonna take that image that we have uploaded, the one that you will upload, and you can play with the prompt. You can I'm gonna create another one while that is being created. So let me just show you. And there's a one interesting update that we have made. Most of you guys have probably guessed it from what I'm showing, but I'll show you that as well. Anyways, so let me just get her again. So I want to say, okay, so female, hi, and you want to create social ads, right? You want to create it for social media, you want to create for ads, business posts, right? So check this out, right? So what do we do? So generally what I see, okay. So as okay, again, business woman, right, in the room holding board that says what do you want to say, right? Anything, like for example, ads like this, right? And generate similarity high and generate. See the beauty here, right? So there you go. Businesswoman, that's what she is, as wearing the pink tuxedo in the hall room. That's how it works, right? matches the similarity, matches the hairstyle, and you can try with your pictures, you can try with your clients, and this is the best solution out there that you can quickly create. And there are so many users. So again, there's this amazing member from our community, and she's into coaching, right? So she wanted it for her thumbnails, she wanted it for her normal posts that you make on Instagram or stuff like that. Okay, I want to show you something like this, right? Say, look at the similarity. I just want to show you, right? So I'm gonna uh, magnify it a little bit. There's some another interesting thing that we have implemented. You probably guessed it by seeing my screen, but anyways, I'll show you that as well. Look at that. So just think about how powerful it is, right? So you never have to actually invest in expensive photography or this or that. You can quickly churn out, good creatives for your business or for your clients without having to do a lot of mumble. Think about how powerful it is for a dentist or for a local client who you're serving, and you're like, it's a plumber. Perfect, right? Plumbing, holding thing, free inspection, right? Free quote. How powerful that is, right? In their local area, stuff like that. Holding like a metal board in a metallic writing, right? You can do all that. I'm gonna show you that, right? It's just the power of prompt and the power of artistry gives you unlimited possibilities, and the only limit is the nothing, right? It's creativity, right? So that's, I'm going to show you one more time, and then I will get into some interesting stuff that we have made to Artistry and some interesting things that are happening inside Artistry platform that's going to blow your mind. All right, perfect, awesome. So okay guys, if you're seeing my screen, there's something interesting that is happening on my screen, right? If you have guessed it, just let me know in the comments. I just want to see, like, if you guessed it, like what's the new thing that you guys have been requesting a lot that we have implemented it. Anyways, so let's finish this one first. Gender male, oh sorry, female, similarity high. Now this time I want 16 by 9, right? I want it for horizontal. You can remove the background as well from the advanced image design. You can create beautiful thumbnails. I'll show you. But as a for now, let's say as the as a forest ranger, uh, in the rainforest, holding green chalkboard that says sale ending soon, hurry up. I mean, just in, you can go with your call to action in a say, but yeah, you can do anything you want. How powerful that is, right? So while this is being generated, I want to see your I need to learn. All right, perfect. Looks like it. All right, perfect.
I'll pass
Yeah,
on some
polygamy.
questions over to you, okay? So
Yeah.
first of all, this is a good question. Can you please do it, a tutorial to list dimension measurements and what they are for, 1:1, whatever. I'll just answer that right now. You don't need to even do a tutorial, okay? So every social media platform, right, has a different dimensions that they use, okay? So say for example, if you wanted to post something on Instagram, but on their news feed, right? Like an Instagram photo, right? That is what uses 1:1. Okay. So let's say you're doing an Instagram post, right? Instagram does 1:1. In the case of, I believe LinkedIn will be 4:5. Okay, that's the way they set it up. So your image has to be that. And you're creating a post for Facebook, right? Your news feed of Facebook. You're gonna need then 16 by 9, which is this horizontal, if you will, video, right? Or image in this case, right? So just check horizontal. In the case of say thumbnails, or in the case of the vertical images are useful for, in the case of even Instagram stories, right? If you want to create a story image, you want it to be vertical for mobile phones, right? So let's say for example, this is my mobile phone, right? So this is the vertical, right? So if somebody's watching it this way, so that will be the 9:16, okay? So basically these are dimensions. So when you're trying to upload, right, a photo or an image that you create with Artistly to different platforms, they're going to say, hey, for this use case, you need to have this dimension. That's what we're saying by use case, okay? So let's say you're creating an ebook cover, right? You're creating a book cover for Kindle. There's a different dimension for that, right? So that's why we create that aspect ratio, and even custom aspect ratio. We gave you that choice, right? To give you the custom aspect ratio, because some platforms, even I don't know what they want. They're all crazy, right? So that's the reason why we do this, okay? Now,
Yeah.
Ashley had some good questions as well. so that I she asked this question about like, can you please fix this option for raised up? Does that automatically in all outputs? This depends, okay, on which ones you're trying to create, okay? So in the case of, let's say, for example, you're trying to create a realistic photo and then you're trying to get them to do actions, pretty straightforward. You want to make sure that that prompt that you're giving it has specific actions that you want to do. And why we focus on the waist up shot specifically is most of the images that people are creating has text elements, right? Holding a sign or basically them pointing to something, right? In that case, you want to have the text being clear. If the person is in a far shot, the text will be too tiny, right? So that's why we've focused on
And
that. But we can create subcategories, and yes, you can point out
let
on this.
me yeah let me show you some prompt examples that is given like full body shots, and then we have some interesting updates that I want to show you. And yes, you can change the actions from like sad, angry, happy, sorrow, like stuff like that, just by playing with the prompt. I'm going to show you that. Okay, so let me just show you 1 second. So I hope you can see my screen, right? So this is being used with the same lady, and you can see, right, she's full body, right? You see that? What did I do? It's a long, right? It's a flowing. She's wearing deep blue gown, and her mystical expression and the whole thing. That actually conveys that okay, there's a full gown, right? The moment I mentioned gown, there's a full body shot that comes out of that, right? Or for example, this okay, the lady as as in a fitted leather corset so I used whatever AI tools you use, right? Any chat gpt or stuff like that you can use to customize this prompt, right? For the use case that you wanted. And then see, she stands confidently, right? The stands takes the shot far away, right? She stands confidently in the garden, right? This one also came out like, again, right? She holds a green chalkboard and wears the glowing accent futuristic space suit, right? So stuff like that you can play with the prompt, like stands or viewing this. And we have seen multiple, right? Not even waist up shot. There are multiple knee up shots, waist up shots, full focus portrait or stuff like that, just with the prompts, as you can see, right? Now one interesting stuff I want to show you, that's gonna blow your mind, right? So I know you. So this is for one of that, right? So now, while we are on that topic, you guys have mentioned that okay, we want artistic style, right? So after we made some update to artistly, that you wanted like more like, because sometimes AI images can be too polished and does not give you that feel. Well, we fix it. All right. So here's how we fix it, right? Generally, I'll show you what happens, right? I'm going to show you before and after, right? So generally, when you use image designer, there's so many hidden things that not hidden in a sense, like not known. If you know it, it's very powerful, right? Oil pastel painting of dog running on beach. I can enhance the prompt, but for now I'm just going to customize it. You can select all the folders, so automatically it goes inside each folder, better for organizational purpose. And yes, we're going to have probably in the next few days, we're going to have a functionality where you can choose beforehand where you want your images to be public or private, right? So it's your choice. Anyways, do 4 styles. I'm going to do 1:1 and check this out, right? So this is with your general artistly creation, right? Which a lot of you guys have requested that, okay, this is good. I mean, this is amazing, but we want a functionality where it feels like more like an art as opposed to like the AI, right? It is good. The image that you see, like these are oil pastel style of dog running on beach. Now, what if I tell you, you can actually add the artistic look to it? And here is how. Look at this. So go to image designer once again, paste the same prompt, okay? Oil pastel painting of dog running on beach. Cool. Now check this out. There's this style, and the style section has completely changed, right? It is not as what it was before. There's something called artistic, right? And go to customize setting, do 4, and check now. See now, I'll show you the before and after. Then that was the thing that we have recently implemented, it just changes the way that it creates image. Look at that, right? Like, look at this image. One second, let me just show you this image, right? Look at this image, which looks like it is drawn by an artist, feels like an oil pastel painting, raw image, does not look like really polished image. I'm going to show you this image as well. And I'm going to show you the before image. And this is really, really interesting, specifically for those of you guys who deal with, you want like some watercolor effect and all that. Look at that. This is the before. Sorry. Yeah, this is the before, which is more polished. This is the after, right? Which is more raw, more real like, and more lifelike. Like something is drawn by an artist, right? I mean, you know what I'm trying to say, right? So let me know if this blows your mind. So this is something very interesting thing. So that's one thing. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions. As we have mentioned the roadmap in the comments, and I want to show you something more interesting in right now, right? So look at this, right? So we all in some way or the other post videos on YouTube, right? But okay, my camera is doing that. Okay, one second. So we need thumbnails for our beautiful videos. We want to make sure that it is click worthy. We want to attract the people people who are scrolling on YouTube, right? But we all struggle with creating the perfect yeah. So all this Looney Tune style read, as you're mentioning, there's another update that are coming more very soon, that's going to allow you to create images in specific style, in 80s style, in pixel style, in doodle style, and Looney Tune style, and any comic style. Right? It's going to blow your mind. It's coming next week. We'll let you know once it is live. But let's come back to that YouTube thumbnail, right? So now I'm going to show you
You
something.
want to share your
really,
screen
really...
because I can't see your screen.
Okay, my bad. 1 second. All right, so check this out. Okay, check this out. We have something called prompt magic, and this is a hidden area which is not explored by a lot of users, and you should check this out, right? Because this is something new that we are constantly working on, right? T-shirt design and YouTube thumbnails and kid storybook has my heart, but I'm gonna cover YouTube thumbnails and T-shirt designs, and we're gonna cover kid storybook later in detail, right? Let's do YouTube thumbnails. It's really, really cool, right? So you see this add a YouTube URL option. So let's say you like a thumbnail that you want to recreate with your own stuff, and you want it like just like how you would. This is like your AI graphic assistant, right? So you tell this AI, okay, this is the thumbnail that I want, right? For example. So what you can do, so it will get you that thumbnail, and you can generate prompts to regenerate that thumbnail and generate it very easily. Let me show you that. Okay. 1 second. 1 second. Let me just, or the other way, you can always upload the thumbnail by just going to this side. Let me just show you. Like there are, for example, let me just show you this. Can you see my screen?
No,
Okay.
I can't see it.
All right.
So when you're sharing it, just don't stop sharing. Just keep it shared.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you can come here just in case if that does not give you. So this is a thumbnail I want, right? So you can always download the thumbnail from here, from this YouTube thumbnail grabber. I just downloaded it from YouTube thumbnail option, right? Now what you can do, you can drag and drop your thumbnail here, right? Very easy, that you want to recreate. It's going to analyze that, right? It's going to generate the prompt. So 1 second. I think there's some internet issue from my side. Paul, can you try from your side?
Yeah, I think there's just like a slight bug. We're gonna fix that, guys,
Yeah.
after this live stream is done. So don't
Yeah.
worry about that. So
Yeah.
basically, I think
Anyways,
what happens, right? Because we're getting it from YouTube, the URL. I think something got changed in the side of YouTube, so no worries. So,
yeah.
but by the time this thing is
Anyways,
done, it'll be fixed. Okay, we'll tell
yeah,
our
we'll let
guys.
you
I'll
know
talk to
once
them
that
right
is
now.
very weird. Live stuff. I think something is weird. Anyways, so I want to show about the t-shirt design that is not yet covered a lot, right?
Yeah, but
So
just
a lot.
explain how that feature works. Because the guys can watch it later. It'll be perfect.
Oh yeah. So basically, the way it works, right, is either you put a YouTube URL like this. Okay, it just worked right now. I don't know how it got it. Okay. Anyways, so you put the YouTube
See,
URL.
guys, this
It's
is
gonna
the live stream thing. See, sometimes it happens, but then this is how it's supposed to work, right? And that's
yeah.
why we don't edit these things and stuff like that. But the concept, you get the idea, right? So even when you're using the application, right? Sometimes what happens when things like this happen, you just try again, it'll work, okay? Because sometimes we see these
Yeah.
tickets, you're like, it's not working, and then we're like, did you try again? And it works,
Yeah,
right?
and this
Yeah.
happens because you're constantly making changes to the
Yeah,
application,
so at
adding
that
new things
minute,
to it.
what probably occurred is our developers pushed an update at that exact second. So
Yeah.
the update, we had to just refresh it and it'll work. But anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then basically what it will do, it will give you the prompt to generate this image. You can edit it according to your needs, and then you can use your own face for that. We're gonna cover that, but let's talk about the t-shirt design, because this is something very interesting that I wanted to show you, because this is very very powerful for those of you who are in either who do print on demand or do any sort of t-shirt selling, print on demand selling, right? So check this out. Let's say I want to create a motivational t-shirt on males and people who are gym lovers, right? Generate the prompts. Now, yeah, I think there's this some update that are happening with
Yeah, I'm talking
making.
to the guys right now. I'll
Yeah,
get this sorted. Okay, you go ahead. You just show how this would work. Yeah,
yeah,
show some
perfect.
examples if you made any in your designs. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Let me just show you. So yeah, let's just cover this thing while this is getting fixed live right now. All right. So this artistic thing, right? So let me show you, right? So we want to do. Let's say you want watercolor style or watercolor style of, let's say, I don't know, cat walking in rainforest. I don't know why rainforest idea comes in. Style, make sure it is artistic. If you want artistic look, right? Folder anything, quantity 4, and hit generate, and it is so cool, right? Because then it gives you the style of image that you want, which is more, you know, raw and artistic style. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, look at this. I'm going to show you. Previously, we were not able to do it because it would not allow you, but it is now, and it is so good, right? And like the rawness you see, the brush strokes and everything, which is not there, right? Like it seems like it's drawn, it's hand painted, right? So it's so cool. Make sure you implement this in your workflow, and it's going to change the way how you design things, right? So that is image designer update, right? And then we have this train your own AI, right? Which basically, again, realistic consistent character. And now there is one more thing that I want to show you, right? As just because I have my screen zoomed out a little bit, you can just zoomed in a little bit. You can see all your personal design in here. There are few things. If you don't like something, you can bulk download, so you don't have to like download one by one. It's tedious, right? We heard you, so we got that added, right? Now there's another thing. You don't like something, I don't like these images, right? So you can bulk delete them, right? So you have to still select bulk remove, right? 1 second. So I want this, I want this, I want this. I have to remove selected. We just remove them all. And it's gonna remove all your selected, right? So just make sure that you don't remove the one that you like. Otherwise it won't be, I mean, you can recreate it, but you won't be able to see it. So that's one thing. Because with this, what you can do in later on, what our idea is, you'll be able to exactly, you'll be able to generate these images with your own given photos in realistic style, like a painting that people can actually use as a wall art or as a poster, right? That's really really crazy, right? So perfect, awesome. So yeah, people are asking, is Artistly better than Video Express? They are both different. So Artistly is the greatest, the best image generator. Video Express, the greatest, the best video generator. So it's image platform, it's a video platform, right? Can you add an option to keep the photo uploaded for training AI so we don't have to keep adding? Good suggestion, Ashley. I noted it. I will make sure that will get implemented, so you can have your own characters by their name. So you have to keep, uploading it. Is a way to make private all generated by default. Yes. So in by the next week, you will have this functionality where before you create, you can choose you want public or private generation. So based on your preference, it will generate like that, right?
Yeah,
Public
and
or private.
also by default, any image generated in the editor is private. Okay, so
Advanced
right
editor.
now, as it stands, has been the case for a while. So the idea is that if you go into the advanced editor and you create any image, by default, it is private. It doesn't go into the community designs. Okay, so the reason why we did that way as well is you do a lot of customizations, you add extra text. Technically, it might not even be an AI generated image anymore, right? With the editor. So if you put it in the community designs, people cannot easily recreate it because there's layers to it and all that, right? So that's why we did it by default there. So for you right now, until we push that new update in, you can do the advanced editor, and then by default, they'll be private.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you that prompt magic. It seems like it's working. I think my internet is some issues like that.
I
So let
just
me
was
just,
talking to our devs, so they are working on it. He said in a couple of minutes it's going to be sorted. So
yeah,
if
and
it,
I'm going to
if
show you.
yeah, you
It's
share your
working.
screen and you show, yeah.
All right, perfect, awesome. So let me show you, right? So guys, here's the thing. Here's our delayed response on that. Anyways, so yeah, so this is the thing. I'm gonna do the YouTube thumbnail. So it already taken that image, but so imagine you post your YouTube link, get the thumbnail that you want, right? So it gets the thumbnail that you want, okay, that you want to recreate. You generate the prompts, right? So what's gonna do? It's gonna generate the prompt for that. It's beautiful prompt for that. Now you can edit this prompt, right? The thing. So I don't know. Right now, it somehow by the developers are changing. There should be a pencil icon here that is gone. One by the time you see it, should be here. So you will see the pencil icon here. So you can change. You can say like change the guy to a woman or girl, and change the text to this blah blah blah, right? And you can choose which quality you want, fast or high, and then based on that you can do like ratio, like I want 16 by 9, which is like uh, my my thumbnail design, and you can generate like that. So powerful, right? And I'm going to show you the t-shirt designs while it is being generated, that which was left from previously, right? T-shirt design, it's so amazing, guys. Check this out, right? You always think about which idea, right? This idea or this design is not selling, or this or that, right? It gives you this hot selling design, really beautiful design that you put on your t-shirts as your unique designs, because 100% of them are uniquely generated every time. We trained it to make with all those winners and all those designs that have gained popularity and virality in the past, right? So I'm gonna show you. So I'm gonna do people who love, who are people who are gym lovers, right? Because I'm slowly becoming one. So that's why I keep giving this example. So, okay. So I'm going to generate the prompt. What it's going to do, guys, it takes like few seconds. What it's going to do, it's going to give you the prompt to generate the specific image, right? And then, boom. And then what you can do, choose fast or high quality, and then aspect ratio 1:1. So look at that. Idea to app, our app, so not our app, I mean our thumbnail is ready. Let me just show you, right? Look at this, right? Now you can switch, you can you can have your picture over there, you can edit the text and all that good stuff here, right? Which is I mean, very tedious stuff and very time consuming, but it is not anymore. So again, make sure you utilize the prompt magic very efficiently inside the YouTube thumbnail. YouTube URL, drop any YouTube URL, get the thumbnail you want instantly like this, and then you would get the design that you want, right?
Yes, this
uh, uh,
question, even I was wondering, what's the difference between this and Mirror Magic? This feature you just showed and Mirror Magic.
yeah. So the difference between there, it's easier. The workflow when you're doing it, it's easier for you, because with Mirror Magic you had to do the whole process of going to the thumbnail downloader, downloading the thumbnail, getting the prompt and all that. It's easier, it's quicker. You can use Mirror Magic if you want, but yeah, because a lot of people want, because a lot of we have a lot of amazing members who run YouTube channel. They want a faster workflow for churning out good thumbnails from easy. Because imagine you want to create 5 thumbnails for 5 videos. You kind of like go there, download shit, boom. I want something like this. Put the YouTube URL, create something similar to that, and get done with it. Fast, easy, and more yeah, more fast basically. So all right, perfect. Any questions, Paul? You see something that has been submitted?
Nothing much yet. Basically, in regards to just the idea of this, I wanted to kind of address this. So this multi-layer thing, the thing is just let's put aside PSD file, right? That's a Photoshop specific file. But let's imagine you want to do multi-layer stuff, right? Stuff that you do. We are doing some research and development on it. I cannot promise the specific date when it will be ready, but the idea is that you can layer, like let's say there's an image and there's me, right? So in this image, I have a t-shirt, I have a microphone, let's say here or whatever. In that image, let's say there's a lot of variables. You can automatically, the AI will make them into different layers. Okay, we're doing some R&D stuff on that still, but once we crack it, the idea will be it'll allow you to basically move a cupcake from an image and make it into a new layer and automatically, right? So that's being worked on. So you're gonna love it. It's for advanced users; they're gonna be blown away by it. But just give us some more time because we're still doing some testing. Just to put it in perspective, there's like almost 10 people working on all these updates based on the machine learning, AI stuff, and also on the side of the development and all that. So that's why we're able to push these updates so quickly, right?
Yeah.
Then the other question
We're gonna
that came in as well is, where do I purchase Artistly? Okay, you go to artistly.ai and you get it. So that's where you'd want to go in and you'd want to get Artistly. So I'll put that up here in the, if I can show it to you. You see that artistly.ai? That's where you want to get it, okay? So if you haven't already, obviously, which most of you do, okay? And so we'll be answering some questions, folks, right now. We have some secret features, but instead of revealing all of them right now and overwhelming you, we're going to be talking that in the next training as well, because a lot of the stuff you're working on should be complete by next week. So it'll be pretty cool. One really interesting thing that I kind of wanted to mention here is that if you see here, right, a lot of the stuff that we shared with you, a lot of the, I would say, you can let me know in the chat box if you agree with me, right? So a lot of the companies out there, they'll have a roadmap, right? Users will request stuff. There is a bunch of, let's say, some people, 100 people want something, 50 people want something. They'll channelize it, and then they'll say Q4 or whatever, like in 4 months or something, or 5 months, the update will release. The problem is that oftentimes in the AI space, things are changing a lot, right? So what we are doing instead, the way we are pushing updates is we are actually spending money on advertising using the same stuff that we are creating within Artistly. Like let's say the YouTube thumbnail for this live stream was created with Artistly, right? The actual, if you see the ads that you folks must have seen on Facebook, YouTube, Google, whatever, the images, right? Instagram, all these places are created with Artistly. So what happens then is we see, okay, this image or this photo or this design or this banner or poster or social media post, it did pretty well, but this one didn't do that well. Okay, why didn't it get virality, or why didn't it get 100,000 views or whatever, like shares or whatever? And then we go back to the drawing board and like, okay, this is the reason why it didn't. We got to add this feature in, right? So a lot of this stuff, even that prompt magic feature that Yash was showing in the case of kid storybooks, YouTube thumbnails, t-shirt designs, coloring books, right? It has to be its own category because behind the scenes, it's very different from Mirror Magic in how we do it. That's the reason why. It's more fine-tuned for the specific use case, right? Do you agree with me what I'm trying to say? So in other words, we see real world problems and we add that in. And that I think is the biggest edge we have with Artistly, and that's the greatest benefit you're gonna get from people who are actually drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. And actually we are testing it every day and we're learning across the board. And because of this, right, we are very clear on what we want to do, right? Say, for example, we're not going to put 100 features and confuse you, right? It'll be more like, okay, if we do that 15, 20 features, it'll be actually practical features, right? And specific for that. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. One of it is t-shirts, right? A lot of you folks were like, I love the t-shirt designs, but I want the ability to export them as a specific format, let's say, right? Or I want to export them in a higher, let's say, quality output. Well, that is a real practical use case. We focus on that as a priority. Same thing with, let's say, for example, you want to do product mockups, right? One of the things we're looking into right now is being able to also do e-covers and e-book designs and stuff like that on a more 3D shape. So right now you can create book covers for Kindle and all these other places, super easy within the application. But if you want to go beyond that, we're working on that because we know if you're going to do covers first, you also want to create a ebook cover kind of thing, right? So that'll be an update we're going to release down the line, even though nobody even requested it in the roadmap. You see what I'm saying? So that is the reason why I think it'll be more of a practical use case. A lot of times people bring up this idea of like, hey, Midjourney or Ideogram or all these other platforms. How is this different from that? And obviously, we can't compete with them on the amount of money we're spending on advertising or amount of features we're adding or whatever, right? Where we can actually compete and we can beat them easily is practical use cases, right? See, a software developer will never have the understanding of a practical use case, right? Because they are not actually drinking their own Kool-Aid and using this stuff, right? How do you expect a programmer to understand social media customer psychology or advertising or the consulting business or where you're trying to create somebody for a dentist or a doctor or e-commerce company? They have no clue. So the difference will be practical use cases, you see, and that is what will set this apart. Now, I do see oftentimes, right, and I'm sure you can let me know in the chat box if you understand this concept, is that this idea is very important, right? We're coming up with a lot of features, and believe me when I say some of the stuff we are working on when it releases, people are like, why didn't I think about that? Like that didn't exist with AI before. You're going to be thinking like that because it's just you would think, why didn't it ever exist? It would be a game changer if it existed, right? Like some stuff that Photoshop you're gonna sit for like 2 weeks to do or 1 week to do, right? I want to give you an example. Like we one of the advertising campaigns we're running on in Facebook, one of the comments was, you know, hire a designer. This AI stuff, like it's taking away creativity or something like that, right? And you see quite a bit of these comments on like, hey, AI is taking away from creativity, or like hire a designer for this, right? The problem is we have full-time designers in our team, right? We have full-time graphic designers in our team, right? Where what happens is in real life scenario, Yash and I are going live today. We need a YouTube thumbnail, right? I message the designers like I'm sleeping right now, or my time zone is different, right? Or I have an appointment with the doctor today. I can't do it in a 1 hour or 30 minutes type of a scenario, right? It's too quickly. Give me 2 days notice. Real life works like this, right? You will be in urgent scenarios. You're going to be in scenarios where like a non-graphic designer like yourself, right, would need to be fast, right, in many elements. And that's what this does, right? That's what you can do with the mirror magic and this consistent character stuff we're talking about today, and all these other features that we
Yeah.
have. It'll allow you speed, right? Yeah, yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
exactly. And then I just can't tell you, I don't do any photo shoots anymore for the ads if I want, right? How easy it is, right? For the crew, just the crew and the whole setup, right? For you to, I showed you, right? Like for example, like holding as a like that costume, right? Holding as a forest ranger, right? In the forest, holding something, holding a green board with your message. Imagine if you want to create 10, 20 posts like that with your client, let's say dentist, right? How would you be able to do that at once and at always without any increasing ever cost of photograph? I mean, when you want things fast, because right now it's all about the game of volume, it's not about the game of quality. In a sense, if we think about, the AI has revolutionized the way you and me are now, so much we need so much of content we don't even remember what we saw, right? I mean, like, in a way, right? So right now it's not about that I'm gonna create the perfect piece of art and put out in this world on the internet and get a lot of views. It's not gonna work like that. Right now, it used to be in 2020 when we were doing training, like I told you guys, our videos have to be perfect, does not anymore. You need volume. If you're putting one video, you need 10 videos to be there, because
Let me give you a
I
perfect example on this, right? Folks, you can let me know in the chat box if you understand this concept, okay? So, traditional businesses, right? they have a Black Friday deal, right? Like during the Black Friday time, which is generally November, they're gonna have a Black Friday special. They'll get these graphic designers to come in, and then they'll be like, okay, folks, for the next 1 week, we need 500 different banners and brochures and elements for social media campaigns, right? So these designers sit from October and all the way to November. They create like 500 design elements for that Black Friday. They do the deal, it does well, and then the business is like, okay, now it's Christmas now, New Year, we're gonna chill and we're gonna go back to our day-to-day stuff. What if, and we've done this, right? You run a Black Friday deal, you run a Christmas deal, you run also a New Year deal, and then in February, right, you run a Valentine's Day deal, right? And then you do run a spring deal, you run a summer deal. Think about it. Now you have 5 different opportunities to connect with your customers rather than one. This is the difference between profitability and a business going bankrupt. Imagine a restaurant, right? 90% of restaurants go out of business within the first 1 year. Number one reason why they go out of business is that they don't run enough advertising campaigns because they're relying on external sources like word of mouth and all that. In today's world, nobody cares, right? Even to get word of mouth, you need to have as many of these brochures, campaigns, deals, offers as possible. So that's what AI will allow you to do. And if you don't do it, your competition is doing that anyways, right? And there is this tendency, and I wanted to be very clear on this, where, well, if that is the case, there'll be a lot of junk content created by AI and social media platforms. How do I stand out, right? That is the reason why we use Artistly to have specific features focused on specifically, if you will, doing objection handling for users and really eliminating a lot of the friction, right? Because you don't know, I don't know, Yash doesn't know what will actually do well on social media. What we focus on is, hey, if I do 5 campaigns instead of one, I'll get 5x the results. It's just common sense, right? If I focus on the ability to get things out quickly, I'll get better results. I'll tell you a perfect example. We used to do these live streams before, and like we wouldn't have time to create a thumbnail. So thumbnail would be my face or Yash's face, right?
Yeah.
And we got Artistly. That's the frustration we had. We put that feature in where we'd get mirror magic and these other features where you upload a thumbnail, get an idea, and get it. It's like 2 minutes work now, right? And just before we go live, we'd put the thumbnail, and videos used to get 500 to 800 views are getting 5,000 now. 10x. Took us 2 minutes. Simple addition, right? AI will allow you to do that. Before I'd have graphic designer, I'd be like, can you do a thumbnail? You'd be like, Paul, I'll get back to you in 48 hours. It needs a lot of creative thinking, I have to think about fonts. I got to think about where to position your photo. I got to think about like all this other stuff. It's just too much for me. So you see how things are changing, right? In real life scenario, this is how life works. This is how business people think. This is how your local dentist, chiropractor, your local restaurant owner, your e-commerce company you work with, or your own business, right? This is how it works, where it comes down to where you have to get the job done, there's no excuses. You can't rely on somebody. I see this oftentimes, right? We used to, I do a lot of consulting work locally, right? So I would go to a business and like, hey, what happened to that campaign? I told you do that New Year campaign, right? And then they'll be like, well, the graphic designer's away for the Christmas holidays, right? And they'll be back after the New Year is done. So therefore I'm waiting. That's money lost, right? And they wait because they are relying on somebody else that they feel that they're not capable of doing, right? So that's the key thing I'm trying to get across here. It's not about AI taking away something. It's about giving you the power to do something that you couldn't do before at all, right? And it gives you the creativity. Will a graphic designer do a better job than AI? Yeah, maybe 10% better. But in pure volume, you're gonna basically do much better overall, right? Because it's gonna allow you to implement things much
Yeah.
faster. So coming back to the questions, right? And you can let me know in the chat box if that makes sense to you folks, right? And
Yeah.
it'll allow you to simplify things and stuff like that, right? But the point I'm saying here, and you're seeing it because we're spending millions of dollars every time, right? Every year. Last year we spent well over, I think, a couple of $1 million or something on AI and understanding customer psychology and what's happening in research, development, servers, all this stuff. And I can tell you with confidence, right? In the next 2 years, if people are sleeping on this stuff, what's going to happen is there's going to be two types of people, right? It's like how when the calculator came in, I mean, a calculator would be a genius doing math in their head, right? It's the same concept. A person with AI in with their side for any tools, by the way, will actually beat a person who is the best graphic designer, best video creator in the world, best video editor, right? and that's what's going to happen. And so basically what we are teaching also in these training sessions and going forward we're going to focus on, if you understand this, is we're going to be focusing on, hey, look, in real life scenarios you're going to face these issues, right? And how do we solve those issues, right? And if you're able to solve them in a quick manner, that'll be the difference between you having a game changing, life changing amount of results, or you're going to be like just like that business I was trying to tell you. Hey, this person who I rely on for this job is away for the holidays. I am just waiting. I don't know. Whenever they come, the job will be done, right? So this will be the changes that will occur. And similarly, with the stuff that we are working on with Artistly going forward as well, we're not going to be doing 1,000 features. I know some people will be like, well, but this feature is available in that application and that this application. What we are actually doing is the pain points we're seeing users like yourself posting in our Facebook group. If you're not, join our Facebook
Well,
group. And similarly, customer support desk. Similarly, we are seeing it in our own business when we are posting stuff and we're seeing comments, right? The final point I'm going to make on this is initially, right, a year ago, just like a year ago, 1 year ago, okay, we used to generate designs with Artistly, right? Or and even the best of the best tools, Midjourney, Dali, and all this other stuff. When you used to post it on social media, right? The first comment used to be, "I hate this AI slop," right? I hate this AI stuff. It's so bad. It's taking away from realism or whatever. Now, when we post, people cannot tell the difference. I was talking to one of the world's best photographers, and he's like an animator slash, they do all this designs and stuff like that for movies. They create posters and stuff. And he said he made a recent post. Okay, this is the funny part. He made a recent post on social media where he spent 1 month creating that particular image, right? This particular image was this person flying in the air, and that was the image. They did a lot of Photoshop editing and all that. Everybody in the comments were like, "This is generated by AI." You see how the world revolves, right? A real designer was spending 1 month on something. People are accusing of that person using AI tools, and a real AI tool, which is actually generating the AI image, people can't tell the difference. This is reality. In 1 year, this is the change that occurred. Now imagine another 2 years, what's going to happen, right? So you're getting equipped by this stuff where everybody, 99% of this world is sleeping right now. And by the time they wake up, it's too late. Just like, when the personal computer revolution came in or mobile revolution came in, internet revolution came in, people who slept on it saying, I'll still use Yellow Pages. I'm not going to use Google. I'll still use newspaper advertising. I'm not going to use Google advertising or Facebook advertising. Same concept. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So this is exact pain point, right? So as some of you mentioned, right, I agree with some people who say, right now our current system does not do a proper job by putting the markup, but we fixed it, and in the next update when we gonna coming, right? So it's pain in, right? I mean, like it's a pain, right? But you have your product, and there was this amazing member. She said, I sell jewelry, but there's no other way to put my jewelry on models because it costs thousands of dollars to hire models and actually do that. Well, that gave us an idea, and we instantly did an AI UGC, image. So now basically what you can do, you can have your products like hat, jewelry, earring, with merch magic you can already do your t-shirt. That's gonna even get much better, with stuff. And that's the thing, right? You cannot actually go and do, because right now, let's say you sell 50 t-shirts, for example, with 50 designs. You cannot go with different models, have the different t-shirts, and then put for your website and for your ads. But you can do using Artistry very easily, right? You can do it for your stuff, like whether you sell hat or any product, right? You want your model, you want UGC stuff, like it seems like user generated. You can create it using Artistry. So that's the next step there will be pushing, and it's gonna get so much better in the next few. And I'll keep, so make sure there's one last thing I want to add here, right? Paul, you want to mention about the channel log in the roadmap, like?
Yeah. So one of the things that we are working on, folks, is and it's been pending for a while simply because of organization, and Facebook group is where we want to post, and Facebook doesn't give us reach in terms of when we post links, nobody gets to see it. So how we are structuring this is we're gonna have something called a change log Or in other words, what it is
It
like a
is already
blog,
live.
right?
Let me show
So
you.
imagine you go to this blog, right? We're gonna give a URL, and in there we're gonna make a post like on this particular day, these were the updates made, right? And this is how you use this update. In this particular date, we did this update. Let's say Artistly 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, whatever it might be. So we're going to be talking about it. So it's going to look something like this, what Yash is showing in the screen. And then you can click on it, and then you can go in and it'll show you exactly. You see that Loom video there, how to use it. It's going to look like that. We're going to be refining it slightly a little bit more. And we're going to give you like a easier link right now. You see it says roadmap.artistly.ai/changelog. We'll probably just put artistly/changelog or something, or artistly/blog or whatever. We'll see. We're still deciding on what to do. But this is going to allow you in one place to see all updates, because what we're facing is we send an email, 10% of the people will see it. You put it in our Facebook group, another 10% see it. And then we keep getting in the email, hey, there's this feature, how do I use it? Is there a tutorial on it? Or, hey, does this feature exist that I want? And it's already been in the application. So instead, you can keep track of it in that page, right? And it's
Yeah.
almost like a blog where you can say, you can go once in a while, hey, that feature, did that get added in? And you'll see it there. And so that'll be something we'll apply to all our applications going forward, but Artist will be the first one we'll implement it because we're adding so many things to it right now, as you
Yes.
folks already know. Okay. So when we do Video Express version 2.0, same thing and all, and on and on. So that'll be something again we're excited about, because sometimes we do a simple bug fix, right? You guys saw today we're talking about that YouTube thumbnails with that prompt magic thing. For that 1 second, it didn't work. We talked to our developers, they fixed it, right? So that kind of thing, instead of seeing in a live stream like this or in a Facebook group, you'll know, okay, there was some small thing, we fixed it, right? And okay, good, I'm going to use it now, that kind of thing. So that'll streamline things a little bit as well as we go along. And then similarly as well, yeah, it will be searchable. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
Possible.
you can search it very easily. It's a good question. Will that be easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and the final point I want to make here, right, folks, is it's this idea of basically with AI tools, what's happening in the future and stuff. Because I don't get to do these live streams much, because working behind the scenes now with a lot of stuff that you folks wanted. As things are getting more complicated in the AI space, it requires a lot of focus to keep on top of these things in terms of infrastructure, like servers and machine learning engineers and developers. There's a lot of layers to this, right? So one thing I wanted to mention is, from the early days, right? So one of the things that we used to do in the early days, right, when I got started back in 2007, one of the things was every time we have a wave, right, different types of people's skill set is valued differently, right? So in other words, in the back in 2005, 2006, 2007, somebody who could put text on a page, right, meaning a copywriter, let's say, right, it was the highest paid skill, right? Like you could have copywriters charging $50,000 for one page, right? Because it was utilizing a skill set that was very rare and very, if you will, valued in the marketplace, right? I paid that kind of money to copywriters before. So then what happened? Video came along, right? Because bandwidth was better. Video came along, and the people who were doing text-based copywriting, right, on a web page, landing page, they didn't get the same amount of value in the marketplace. Let's say they were getting 50,000, now they're getting paid 2,000. Same job, different value, right? So then what happened was when video came along, these people didn't get. So somebody came up with a concept called VSL, or video sales letter, right? And the person who could write a script for a video, right? This is when I was good at this stuff in the early days. You could command that same $50,000, but what you just did is you put this text thing, which was a copy, into a video, right? And that took off, and people were making an absolute fortune doing that. And then later on, what happened is people saw a lot of this stuff in video, and people were like, well, I'm seeing so many of these video stuff, and it kind of, what we kind of like called banner blindness, right? So people are like, oh, I've seen this 100 times, it was not as effective. Then came along webinars, right? Go to webinar, Zoom, you get it, right? And what was unique about a webinar is more like this. Like you see right now, you see I'm seeing your comments, I'm interacting with you, I'm seeing it right this, right? Angel's, Melvin's post, I see all this stuff, right? So basically, while I'm seeing these comments, I'm interacting with you folks, right? So that was what a webinar brought to the case, right? So you could have interactive Same concept, from text we went to video to interactivity, right? And then you could add other things like social media communities and all this other stuff came into play as we go along. So today, the highest value, ironically, and will be the case for the next 3 to 5 years, is how you have all these AI tools. You have ChatGPT, you got Artistly, you got Video Express, you got let's say text to speech, all this other stuff out there, right? What is the practical use case to this stuff in a real life environment, right? If you can figure this out, this is the highest value right now. People will pay any amount of money because it's all about productivity gains and speed and implementation, right? Let's say, for example, like just about a month ago, we're talking to a property management company, right? They do property management for commercial plazas or apartment buildings and stuff like that. They came and they said, look, this AI stuff is all good. Okay, it's all exciting, this ChatGPT stuff, but what's the use case for our business, right? So I went into it and I said, show me a day-to-day stuff on what you guys do, right? What do you guys do normally, like in a day-to-day thing? So there were a lot of the stuff was real estate listings. They have to list it up on platforms so people can see with photos. So image and design. So I said, Artistly can do this stuff. They're like, oh wow, I didn't know that. So that means I don't need a photographer for this stuff. You don't. So that was one thing that they understood right away and they could see value in it. Second thing they were saying is we upload a lot of, a lot of their work is invoices, right? They see invoices from plumbers, electricians, and, payment people, all this other stuff. And then they upload them all into one place. And then they, at the end of the month, they create a report, right? How much they're spending and all this other stuff, budgeting. So I said, okay, go to ChatGPT and upload all these documents and get data from it. They're like, wow, really? I can do this? I didn't know that. That's value there. Then thirdly, they do a lot of advertising campaigns on social media, YouTube. I said, use apps like Video Express and you can create stuff that which you would have needed a videographer, a social media manager, and all these other people to do, right? And they're like, whoa, wow. Normally we'd spend $5,000 a month for this. I can do it this way. So my point is, like 99% of the people, they're not as sophisticated as you folks and I am in this stuff. So because of that, when you provide practical use cases, that is the highest value in our marketplace and going forward for the next 3 to 5 years easily. Because a lot of people, a lot of businesses, including e-commerce companies or offline, online, they hear about ChatGPT and they just end it at text generation. Meaning I ask a question, it'll answer, right? But they don't realize it goes beyond that. Text to speech, image generation, video. You're talking about creating reports based upon data that you provide. You're talking about social media campaigns, traffic generation, conversion optimization, right? All this kind of stuff. And that is where the value is. And we'll be focusing on that in our trainings as we go along as well. And I'm seeing this question, basically the next Video Express update. Yes, as I mentioned, that version 2.0 is being worked on as top priority. It will be soon. We'll be rolling it out first to beta testers. That's why I made the post in our Facebook group and stuff. Just because right now for video generation, so just so you understand, when ChatGPT, you post some text, right? And you get a response back, let's say, right? That is just text, right? Imagine we say, right, a picture is worth 1,000 words. With Artistly images, that's 1,000 words, right? When, or even in fact, a lot more computational power, we say. Video is 1,000 times an image. Does that make sense? This is the reason why when, like if you look at OpenAI, Sora, and some of these video platforms, they limit you for 50 videos per month or whatever, because you got to do 1,000 ChatGPT sessions, the same computational power as one video generation. So that's why we're going to be rolling it out slowly for beta testers, get things rolling, and then we'll release it to all existing Video Express customers. Specifically, priority will be the people who have the elite upgrade or the all-inclusive upgrade, right? Effectively, so that because of the amount of computational resources that we need to get. One interesting thing I'll show you folks, okay, just so you understand, right, the craziness of it, because people don't understand when I try to explain this, and you'll understand this where the future is headed, right? It's like ridiculous. Okay, so I'll show you my screen real quick here, and this will be it, and I'll answer a couple of questions. We'll call it a day today, okay? All right, so you check this out in my screen right now. This is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is the monopoly in the infrastructure, right? So every time you generate images with Artistly, it goes through an NVIDIA GPU server, okay? Just so you know. So in the beginning, we started off with like NVIDIA one server, two servers, or whatever. Now the next generation is moving into something called the NVIDIA GB200 NV72, which is basically like a refrigerator, right? So it costs $3 million. Okay, so it looks like this. If I can show you, it looks like this. This is like your refrigerator. Like you see this? So I'll open this up. Hopefully you guys can see it fully. You see this? It looks like this. Like it's 72 servers in one, right? So when OpenAI is using this, Google is using it and all this other stuff, they're buying this $3 million technology, right? And they'll buy thousands of these, maybe even 500,000, whatever. They're buying any amount, right? So reality is, right, every image you generate, every video you generate is actually going through a server that looks like this, effectively, right? In some data center somewhere. So what's happening right now is when we say Artistly, the price we sold it for, right, which is ridiculously cheap for one-time payment, this is the kind of infrastructure we are forced to get. That's why it's so expensive, and that is the reason why you have a competitive advantage over others, because other people, they will get some of these platforms which are credits based or recurring subscription based, and they'll give up after a month or two because it relies on them getting a project or getting an ROI out of it, right? All the updates we're making to Artistly, the infrastructure is just as high end as any of these other big companies out there, right? And so what that means in other words, right, is that it allows you, when you go into the marketplace, when you're doing it for your own business brand or even for other companies out there, it gives you a serious competitive edge, right? Now you might be wondering, well, okay, Paul, this is ridiculous. This is like $3 million for like one of these refrigerators, right? It's more expensive than like, what is it? You could say you could get probably 15 Lamborghinis for the same thing, right? 15 Lamborghinis or one of these, right? So the reality is what we've been doing, right? Every single penny in profit we get from Artistly Video Express, we've been investing in this infrastructure, right? Because what we know is in the future, once we have them right now, and we can always optimize it and costs will go down, right? Because of the fact that we can make it simpler to run, faster to run, and we can see, okay, users are using this feature more, so therefore let's focus on making that feature faster, much more easier to do from an engineering standpoint, right? So that's the focus, okay? So the reality is, why is 99% of the world sleeping? They don't understand AI. It is because of this fact, okay? The fact is that people right now, are basically in a situation where there's limitations on, for every company out there on getting these types of infrastructure projects, right? And in reality, like I hope I can get this to you very easily, which is, I'll show you this very interesting post, okay? So this is, you folks know OpenAI, right? So I'll actually show you the screen so you folks can see it, right? So OpenAI wants to release a GPT 4.5 next, okay? And blah, blah, blah. He says it's the first model that's thoughtful or whatever. Bad news is it's a giant, expensive model. And basically we're growing a lot and are out of GPUs, okay? What that means is even this $3 million refrigerator, they don't have enough of these, right? So that's the reason why, even though GPT 4.5, they want to release OpenAI guys, they can't until, right? You see, we're growing out and we're out of it. We will add tens of thousands, okay? Tens of thousands next week and roll it out to the plus tier. Then hundreds of thousands are coming soon, okay? So putting in perspective, in this refrigerator, there's 72. If he's saying hundreds of thousands, let's say it's 100,000, right? They will need like thousands of these refrigerators, right? If you think about it. And that's the money they're spending, right? Billions and hundreds of billions of dollars. What will happen, right? Eventually, this is going to be so much in supply, right? In the next 3 to 4 years, that every device you use will be AI powered. Your refrigerator, your microwave, your phone, your Alexa, your anything and everything you can imagine, right? Your calculator, everything. So for that, if you think about it, right? Don't you agree with me? If this is so expensive, this 72 things that are racking up, and OpenAI, which is like they have like hundreds of billions of dollars they're raising, right? Look at them. They are saying this is how we want to operate, but it's hard to perfectly predict GPU shortages, right? GPU shortages. What does that mean? We're short of this stuff because somebody in the factory has to produce this stuff. Somebody has to put all these parts together, right? Somebody has to go in and ship it out somewhere. Somebody has to install this into a data center, put all the wiring, the cables, and all this stuff, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes 6 months to 12 months, right? So this is the reason why I'm trying to say when you use Artistly, when you use our applications, you will have a competitive advantage over others simply because the other bigger companies, they will not focus on practical use cases, just throw it out there, see what sticks. And secondly, they are in a scenario where they don't know where to deploy money, right? Like OpenAI wants to put it on GPT 4.5 and not on, say, their Sora stuff, which is their video creation stuff, because fewer people might be using Sora compared to GPT 4 or 5 or whatever, right? So this gives you an edge and us an edge also, obviously, because what we are doing is okay, AI video can work on social media campaigns, advertising campaigns, and stuff. AI images that you can generate with Artistly are replacing graphic designers and stuff like that. Doesn't mean that they're fully replaced, but the point is it'll make them more productive and you can get out 100 designs in the same time it took you to do one, even or even less, right? So that is the reality of the situation, right? So that means, in other words, if you look at it more in the far future, what's going to happen is companies will have this $3 million refrigerators. They'll have millions of these out there, and in the next 4 years or so. And once that capacity is reached, what's going to happen is it's going to be a day-to-day thing. And it's similar to, let's say, for example, if you were the first person to have a personal computer, access to the internet, there was no competition, right? You're the same person to have access to, Apple iPhone and their app store. You create an app. So you were one of only 100 or 1,000 apps, right? Now there's millions of apps, right? There's less competition. So that's the stage we are still in. And
Yeah.
strategically, if you think about it, this is the time to play the game, you know? It's one of those revolutionary times where those few people in the early days will completely change the game forever. And that's where I wanted to kind of stress this point that you understand that we're in an era that unlike anything out there. It's not something you can compare to, you know? Like it's like we're in like the 1920s where we moved away from horse buggies to cars. And then they had to build the entire infrastructure of roads and highways and bridges, right? So we're in that kind of an era where what's going to happen in the next 5 years for the infrastructure, the laying stuff out, will be very unique, right? And there's a huge demand for the stuff out there because a lot of people are looking for solutions that will solve issues, right? And we'll try to give those ideas to you and you can run with it in the real world, right? Because you can imagine if everything will be powered by AI, everything, right? Your pizza store, your restaurants, or like your chiropractor's practice, your doctor's office, right? All these things, right? Down the line, then you can imagine how much value there is for you to come to these trainings, understand practical use cases, and apply it into your expertise, whatever it might be, right? Maybe you were a mortgage broker for the last 30 years, you only did mortgages. How will this help you? Well, if it can generate, better advertising campaigns, better analysis for you, and all this other stuff, that's a huge game changer for you, right? Stuff you basically can apply into your business. Same thing with if whatever you were in, right? Whatever experiences, expertise you've had, right? One of the things I'll tell you what I'm focusing on, right? In the last decade plus that I've been doing this stuff, right? There've been 4 or 5 industries that I've been very close to, right? Whether it's investments or whether it is certain other aspects like you see software development, let's say, or let's say even for that matter, if you will, web design, copywriting, social media campaigns, consulting, right? The reality is when we go out in the real world, 99% of people have no clue, right, what's happening. And you show it to them how easy something is or how fast something is to do, it blows them away because cost is the prohibitive thing for them. Like imagine your local restaurant ain't got the money to go do this stuff, go buy this stuff and do it themselves, right? Your local dentist or your local doctor or chiropractor or physiotherapist or even your local, like imagine e-commerce company, let's say a store, it has some stuff they sell and they have an e-commerce store. They don't have this kind of money, right? And to go do everything on their own. So they're only using what basically a mega corporation says is useful to them. And what's going to happen is out of 100 things that OpenAI will release or ChatGPT release, two or three things will actually be usable, right? In the practical case. So that means if you can just focus on three of those things that we are seeing in our real life use cases, then it'll give you a head start over other people who are using all the 100 and then getting bored and quitting, right? Because nobody has the attention span these days, if you will, right? So does that make sense? Let me know in the chat box, folks, because what I'm trying to explain is that sometimes, right, you have to understand that, the time you're putting in to come to these trainings, the time you're putting in to learn Artistly or Video Express or Talking Photos or whatever tools of ours or other tools out there. And we're not at all shy to say, well, you can use ChatGPT, Mistral, which is another thing, all this other stuff, which are free to many cases. There's DeepSeek that came in from the folks from China. Nothing wrong in you using it or not. It's all cool, but what's the practical use case? Where are we headed, right? That is what you got to look at, right? And if you want to look at it from 3 to 5 years down the line, it'll make a lot more sense to you. Like, I'll end this off and I'll let Yash have the final word on this. I'll say something very interesting, okay, that I wanted to kind of bring across, right? So just think of it this way. I'll hopefully, if I can draw this out for you folks, it'll make your life more easier, right? So Jeff Bezos, right, from Amazon, right? He coined this thing, so I don't want to give credit. I want to give credit to him, let's say. So basically, what this is if I can draw this out for you folks, hopefully. So what he said is, I'm looking at 5 to 10 years, right? Timeline, right? And a lot of people say, what's the next best thing? What is the next best thing? What's happening, right? And instead, I don't do that. I just look at what doesn't change in 5 to 10 years. So in his case, he said for Amazon, people want more variety, right? They want more products. So they want more products. They want products shipped faster, right? They want these products in their hands faster, right? And they also want these products cheaper. They want a good price, good deal, right? Right? And he said, this will always be the case. It will not change 5 years from now. It's not going to change 10 years from now. So my point is, let's look at it from our perspective, right? Let's say let's say you're doing marketing, you're doing social media management, you want to generate more traffic, maybe you want to grow a brand, business, or maybe you want to even do social media stuff for fun, whatever the case might be, you want to get some result from it, right? So if we look at that, what doesn't change, right, in the next 5 to 10 years? So let's look at it from our perspective, right? I'll tell you what I'm doing. So what doesn't change, right? People want things fast, right? Because everything is fast changing. Everybody wants to get things out fast, right? AI will allow you to do that, right? You can generate 100 designs in Artistly or whatever. In time, it will take one designer to do one. And even that will require revisions and stuff, right? So you'll want to have fast. Then the other thing is people will want to also, let's look at it 5 to 10 years down the line, right? They want it automated, right? So meaning, let's say, for example, you know for a fact that creating images or photos or let's say brochures or social media posts and stuff like that, you know for a fact, right? Like if I put a different color here, you know for a fact that the more automated it is, it removes the human error from the picture, right? We human beings are emotional. And there's nothing that can change it, right? So for example, if I tell you do the same stuff every day for the next 1,000 days, and at the 100th day you're going to give up because it's too boring, right? Even if it's actually generating your results, it's generating your revenue, you'll do that, right? So you want it automated. Well, AI will do that, right? Secondly, and then we go next, right? Just look at it from that list of things, right? What do you really want? So you want fast, you want automated, and also if you look at it a business person and stuff, right? You want practical use case, right? Real practical stuff. So you want it to be practical, right? So meaning if you tell somebody, hey, I want you to do this coding where you write a bunch of code and then that will help your dentist practice have better data, it can analyze or whatever. Who has that time to learn coding, right? So they want it practical. What is the solution, right? How can I simplify things, right? So I have a patient's record, right? So where they have, say, for example, back pain, or let's say a chiropractor, right? They have pain in the neck or whatever, right? So then the question is, okay, when the next time that patient comes in, instead of reading the whole thing, they already have a summary of, okay, what happened in the last session, physiotherapy, and what's going to happen in the next session now, so they're not wasting 10 to 15 minutes on the clock just to understand what happened in the prior session and what's happening now, right? Asking the same questions. This is what they need. That AI will do that, right? Practical use cases. And then finally, let's look at it from the perspective, right? People, same thing, right? Cheaper. People don't want to spend like $200 a month, right, on a Chat GPT Pro subscription just to generate a bunch of text. They want to be able to do other things, images, videos. They want to be able to also, for example, have things where, just like how, for example, in your real life, you're buying a table. You don't want to pay a subscription for that table. You want to pay once, and then you want to use that table for the next 10, 15, 20 years, or whatever that useful life is of that, right? Like when, for example, let's say, same thing will apply, right? You buy a computer, you're expecting it to last for 5 years. You ain't gonna buy a monthly subscription for that computer, right? So same thing, right? People will want it cheaper, so and faster as well. Same concept, right? And finally, the reality is the main thing people are looking for is results and productivity, right? What is my ROI, return on my investment? Whether it's return on my time, return on my, let's say, money I'm spending on that AI tool or whatever resource, return on, for example, training somebody to do it or whatever it might be, right? So if you think about this aspect, this is not going to change in 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, right? So just think about it from the practical standpoint then. If that is the case, don't you agree with me that we already are here, we know how to get it fast, we already know how we can automate certain things. We also know with our training, and also you folks are smart enough to decipher some things that we are teaching you and you're learning on your own, practical use cases, right? AI cannot change the, toilet or do plumbing work right now. It's common sense, right? But it can do a really good job of knowledge work, research, image generation, copywriting, web design, video generation, social media marketing, all this kind of stuff, right? And also, that as time goes on, this is the case now. It's not going to be the case 3 to 4 years from now, which means everybody, including a 10-year-old kid, will have the same access to technologies you have 3 to 4 years down the line, right? But this is the edge today, right? This is the edge today. People are spending $200. It eliminates 99% of the world. They can't even afford it. So therefore, that gives you an edge because you have these tools, so you don't have to spend $200 a month, right? And then finally, results and ROI, okay? This is probably the most important thing, right? Who cares? Like, you can go and explain somebody, buy this computer. Like, imagine this, right? Like, how can you go and justify this purchase, right, of this huge refrigerator for $3 million, right? And say, well, it'll give you a return on investment. How can you justify it? A Google or an Amazon or an OpenAI understands the value, but a normal business doesn't, right? So similarly, the only way you can justify it is if you use it really in real life and you're seeing the results of it, right? And that's the reason why we're teaching you all this practical stuff, right? When you open up, Artistly too, that's what I'm trying to get at. You see these features, right? Oftentimes, right, people might be like, well, I only want to use these two features 99% of the time, right? I don't need this train your eye. I don't need this stuff. But in reality, sometimes you have a deadline you gotta meet. Not everybody has, especially now that I have a baby, right? He's 8 months old now. So we don't have time to sit for 16 to 18 hours a day, try to get something done, right? What we can do is, okay, look, this is what I need. I have only 15 minutes, 30 minutes to do. What can I do in this time frame, right? So this then becomes, okay, I want to do a mock-up creator. This is the tool. I'll jump in. I'll watch the tutorial for 5 minutes. Boom, done. I'll get this done now, right? It may not be something you use every day, but for that use case, it has value, right? So similarly, again, any one of these features you see, product images and the upscaler, for example, right? Or mock-up creator, we have all this stuff here. And then if you go to the advanced editor, we have even more features here. You see text editor, instant scene, and all this stuff, right? It may not be something used today, but in real life, once you know how to do it, you go into the right opportunity, it can be worth a lot, right? In the right time frame and stuff like that. Like just like that. So for example, as I mentioned before, when we do live streams before, we didn't have time to do thumbnails. And then as soon as we realized, well, I can use the mirror magic, like you see this one right here, right? We had this image before. You see this? So hard to recreate this image with so much text. The flowers of tomorrow are the seeds of today, right? With mirror magic, I could recreate images like this, you see? This one right here is one variation. This one is another variation. This one is another variation, and I can change the text to however I want, right? Like imagine you saw an idea, you saw some, like, majority of the jobs right now, right? If the social media marketing, image design, or whatever, a lot of the businesses will say, hey, here is my competitor. They do a great job at social media, create stuff like this, right? This is an example. Recreating that in just a couple of minutes, huge game changer, right? Gives you huge productivity superpowers. Like you can show them, hey, how quickly I can do it. You can show it in a couple of minutes. It's huge, right? And in real life, that's how it'll help you. It'll remove procrastination, right? When you know that, okay, I can do something that even a professional would take 1 week in a minute or a couple of minutes. That gives you a huge edge in terms of understanding, okay, I got to get this done. I want to do it. It may not be, perfect. 99% is good enough in this world, right? Because you got to get things out there, right? If you snooze you lose, they say, right? Same concept. And sometimes I have to tell this, right? I have to push you to the finish line. I have to drag you to the finish line. Sometimes we got to do it, we'll do it. But that comes with the understanding and love that we have to teach you this stuff to understand the true potential of some of these things. And the only way you can do that is you're taking the commitment to show up to these live streams, which is really appreciated on our end, and we'll do our best to give you value in that front. But also understanding that it's not about overwhelm. It is about understanding that every feature that we put in here, right, is stuff that is coming from our frustration. We run advertising, spending millions and millions of dollars on campaigns, not just for us, but other companies that we consult and stuff. And we see the huge frustration of relying on third parties, who might have real emotional issues. Somebody's not happy that day, they're sick, they're working on another project that has a tight deadline, they don't have the same time frame to give to you. Similarly, that person that you're relying on to do it, they might have a certain way they like to do things, right? They'll be like, oh, I only want to do it this way, take it or leave it, right? I'm not going to relearn something else, right? This is the reason why, Yash was talking about that consistent character thing, right? One of the reasons why we did it is also for our own use case, the stuff, because we go to a designer, right? I'll say, create me a 2D consistent character design like this to create a storybook. They're like, I only know how to do 3D. I don't know how to do 2D. And if you want me to learn how to do 2D, it's going to cost you more money. This is how people do, right? Because I don't know I'm not comfortable with it. Same thing with realistic. I want to create a realistic character consistency. It's too much work. It's too much money, right? So therefore, they start demanding more money or whatever it might be, right? And this is the frustration we've had, right? It's always is the case, unfortunately. So understand that this is how things are moving, right? In the beginning, right, when AI revolution or whatever you could say back in 2022 or 2021 was coming in, I was of the assumption, right, just like anybody else, that AI is gonna take away jobs from construction of houses or like factories and all these other places, right? But reality, what we're seeing is it's all in knowledge work. Your accountant, your lawyer stuff, right? Let's say stuff like a copywriter, a designer, right? The coder, right? Programming. This is the type of stuff that AI is doing incredibly efficiently and better. And if that is the case, just think about it. These were the highest paid jobs in the world, right? Like a lawyer was getting paid more than a plumber was, right? A lawyer, let's say a doctor, let's say, for example, was getting paid less than a programmer working at Google, right? In many cases. And so now what's happening is that the speed and the revolutionary stuff that's occurring right now, it's something that even people didn't expect it to occur this way, right? So we have to understand that, and we have to take advantage of that too, in a way, because the world is not stopping, whether we like it or not, right? So that's the key thing. So coming back to the point, does that make sense, folks? Because I don't want to kind of make a point there and you folks go home and like don't understand the idea here of how powerful some of the stuff that we're talking about is, right? Yash can attest to this, right? We have an internal stuff that we use Artistly for, and I keep logging into his account sometimes accidentally, and he has like thousands of photos in a day that he's creating, like brochures and presentations and stuff. And in the beginning, I was like, how is this even humanly possible? Like an alien created it? Like, how can you create 1,000 social media posts or ads or creatives, and a human being cannot do it, right? And then what happens is that because of that productivity and that efficiency, right? It's as good as Yash's cloned himself 5 times or 10 times, right? Or in my case too. And then imagine yourself, you ask this question, if you cloned yourself 5 to 10 times, don't you agree with me that will be a huge game changer for you? That's what's happening, right? So just keep that in mind, right? So that you do it, because I know sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes you see, well, am I too late for something? Am I missing the bandwagon, right? Just so much stuff is happening, and I can tell you for a fact, this is still in the early stages. Like, I mean, you're talking like like if you say baseball, right, 9 innings, it's probably the second innings or something. It's not the end. And similarly, if you talk about, like, as I told you, right, what's going to happen, and this is the reason why we're doing this stuff day in and day out. Copywriter became a video copywriter, became a social media copywriter, became, let's say, a sales page copywriter, became a webinar copywriter, right? At different stages, when they adapted, they made more money than when they were just an initial copywriter. Similarly, an AI oriented person, tomorrow, video will get better. It is already with the version 2.0 update of Video Express. You'll see how powerful video has become. It's just, if you compare version 1.0 to version 2.0 of Video Express, it'll be like alien technology, right? Like aliens built it. Like, that's how crazy it's become, right? You compare in just a year, right? So the idea is that if that is the case, just think about it, right? So now you were creating videos before, just you will be 100 times more efficient now because you understand, right? And that will make you infinitely more powerful. Now you know Artistly. Imagine turning these images to videos tomorrow with Video Express. Same concept, right? And but the idea is that you get it. Now you get 10 times the impact because you can create the images and convert it into videos now. Both effect. You can use it for different platforms, right? So you're creating YouTube shorts, convert this cartoon into a YouTube short. Now you get a different reach. You post the same image into a Facebook or Instagram newsfeed, different reach. Different users will watch different stuff, right? And you can do the same that would have taken you a week in like maybe an hour or 30 minutes. All the stuff we're talking. Crazy, right? Unbelievable almost, right? Like just one last point I'm gonna make is you folks have seen it, right? When we ran a Black Friday deal for some of our products, a lot of you folks saw it. We created the video with talking photos, built the website with like sites, and then we did the designs with Artistly. And it did like in about 15 minutes to 30 minutes, we finished it. And people couldn't even tell the difference. Powerful, right? So go ahead. Yeah, yes, you had a point. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's what I was saying. I think everything is gonna change. Like you, where you look at comic books, like your coloring books, your thumbnails, your digital, everything's gonna change, and I'm just super excited to, ride the wave with you guys. So yeah, and
Awesome.
really
So,
appreciate. Yeah.
yeah, in order to not get this going forever, folks, so what you can do is you can post this comments once this becomes a replay. I'll be happy to check and respond to you. And also in our Facebook group and stuff if you haven't already. Next week's stuff, there are going to be more updates that we are making. And I'll also keep you posted on some of the stuff that we're working on as well. And Yash is also going to do that. Just make sure, okay, if you haven't already, pay close attention to the tutorials tab, okay, in the application. So in Artistly, the tutorials page. So that I'll just put up that link here for you folks. So it'll be Artistly/tutorials. I'll put this up real quick, and Yash will show it to you I'll show it to you right now. So if you see this little area, this question mark on the top, tutorials, this is the tutorials, right? So you're gonna go there. So that'll be that little question mark here on your app, okay? And that's where we're adding all these new features. Like if you scroll down, we're adding new features all the time, right? You see this? Mockup creator is here. Prompt magic that Yash showed today is here. Product images are here. Consistent character 3D is here. And we keep adding more and more. And these trainings also, we post the replays here as well. You see in the bottom? You can scroll down and you're gonna see these trainings as well, okay? So that said, have a great day now wherever you're on the world you are. I just want to make sure you understand that the updates we're making and stuff that we're doing, it's all free for you folks. It's our commitment that, ironically, it's just so funny, I'll tell you, the stuff that we're using with Artistly is increasing our results so much that oftentimes it's making us more money than actually just the customers buying our software. It's just ridiculous. So that's the reason why we're so excited to train you on this stuff, because just imagine, right? Like you're 1,000 times more productive than you were just last year. It just opens up new doors for you, right? So keep that in mind. We will be giving you more practical examples like this down the line. I wish you all the best. Watch out for our next training in the next coming week. Take care, folks. We'll be in touch.